Hey there, Salvador with Detailers Growth, and today I'm sitting down with Caleb of K&M Coatings in Oklahoma. How are you doing, Caleb?
Good. How are you, Sal?
I'm good, man. Thank you for making the time. Caleb, you are somebody that I wanted to really sit down and talk about your entire journey because I think a lot of detailers want the kind of journey, but it's not always like a hockey stick level of growth on a chart. It's usually a lot of ups and
Correct.
downs, a lot of learning, a lot of implementing, testing, which I think you and your team are really good at doing. And it just shows with the results that we're going to talk about later today. So let's just dive right in, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to go back to before you were a client with us. I want to go like specifically what kind of services were you offering and what was business like before coming on board with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So primarily all we did was we started with mobile detailing only. So we didn't really know how to do paint corrections, coatings, PPF, anything like that. It was just mobile detailing. And then once we kind of took that dive and learned about the paint correction process, wet sanding, I mean, full on corrections, just paint enhancements, and we kind of really refined our process in that. Then we started offering it to clients and we would do mobile paint corrections and ceramic coatings. And then it kind of got to the point where at a certain time, you're wasting so much gas by traveling 45 minutes, an hour and a half to different clients and having to pack up everything every single day and then go to a client's house, come back, do another job. We were working at my parents' house at the time, so we were doing everything there. Um, we got rid of mobile, and then we kind of really focused on paint corrections and ceramic coatings and everything else.
Perfect, man. Sounds good. And that's exactly the same journey that I hear from guys who are looking to make the switch from interior detailing to ceramic coatings. Ceramic coatings just make more sense. They're more profitable with roughly about the same time, depending on the package, right? Um,
Oh yeah, for sure.
so you came on board early February of this year, 2023. And do
Yep.
you want to describe the first couple months where we were just testing, trying to refine things and what that looked like?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first couple months, it was stressful. It was a learning process for everyone involved. Trying to figure out the whole sales process. I mean, the leads were coming in perfectly fine. I just really had to work on my sales process and kind of figure myself out on that end. Um, Other than that, everything was great. We had issues because I wasn't able to sell our services very well. And then once we figured that out, we have been a hockey stick. Once we get that
Awesome.
figured out.
So I want to double click on that sales process real quick. So when in us detailers growth, we primarily advertise on Facebook, right? Caleb, can you go into more detail on why it's important to really dial in that sales process versus what some people might be used to already with referrals and just warmer leads versus leads that come through on Facebook?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I mean, a lot of our leads, being that we're in Oklahoma, we do a lot of trucks or any kind of like off-road vehicle. So a lot of people think of it just as a work truck or a weekend toy or something like that versus having a beautiful truck. And so really educating the client and getting them to understand what the coating does, what the coating is, how long our process takes, how long the longevity of the coating is, and really just educating the client. They call and they're like, man, I have so many scratches, so many swirls. What do I do? It's a $90,000 truck. I don't want it to be terrible looking in 2 years. So we really focus on the education side of it and show them that we care about what we do and we enjoy what we do. And once you really educate the client, the selling part is kind of easy because they understand that they're getting the level of care that they want for their vehicle. Or they see the advertisements that we put on Facebook and they're like, how do I get my truck to look like that? And usually, what I'll tell people is, I'm like, oh, well, what video did you see? And they're like, oh, you did a black GMC Sierra and it looked like a mirror. I want that. So as soon as they say they want that, it's all about just educating them and figuring out how much they want to spend to get a black mirror. So, yeah.
Yeah, and just for anybody watching this, the reason we focus so much on the education side, both in the advertising, the follow-up, the sales process, is because if you think of, especially if you're new to ceramic coatings, right? Like the benefits, the process, all of that makes sense to anybody in the industry, but to the everyday average Joe just looking to protect their car, make it look better, it's really hard for them to justify, a $1,500 price tag, right? So it's really about
Right.
getting them to see what you see, what you and I see with the benefits of ceramic coatings, the benefits of paint correction, and how that can really benefit their vehicle. Okay, so Caleb, we locked in that sales process. By the way, anybody watching, when you come on board as a client for Detailers Growth, we have a sales training program with weekly coaching calls. Caleb, you're in there every single week looking to just refine, see what other guys are doing, ask questions. And I think a lot of that's compounded to August. So I believe
Oh,
it was,
100%.
yeah, so I believe it was mid to late August where things really took off like a hockey stick.
Literally overnight. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to describe it other than it was like a flip of a switch. And it was, my bank account was very depleted and it was very sad looking to what we have today, which I mean, we're gonna break the best year I've done so far was last year, and that was 26,000 by myself.
The entire
Um,
year.
the entire year.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know how I'm looking at next month, like holy cow. So we did about like 26, 27,000 by myself last year, and this year I'm on pace to clear 150. So within
Insane.
just a couple months. Yeah, it's wild.
So let's
So
talk about that. What was that light switch that really took things off?
I mean, just listening to everyone else in the calls, Aaron, Khalil, Patrice, everyone that's just absolutely crushing it right now. Just listening to how they speak to clients and their sales process. And really, I mean, really it comes down to the education side of it and explaining to the client what they're getting, why it's beneficial. I think really kind of drove it home for me. So I changed my sales process to orientate more of that sales pitch, if you will. Literally detailers growth. I mean, to the moon. I took off like a rocket. So
Love it, man. So just to drill down a little bit more and get specific on the numbers. So you sent me a message a couple weeks ago just outlining, each month. So I want to highlight that. June looks like you did $3,700.
right.
July, $4,400.
Yeah.
August, $10,300.
And that was our best month because in May by myself, I did like right over 8,000. It was like $8,050 or something. So yeah, go ahead.
Just knocked it out of the park in August. Okay. And then September, you shot up to $39,000 in just ceramic
Yeah,
coatings.
39,000. That's yeah, I haven't detailed a car since July. Other than I have one maintenance client that we do every month. And so we go to their business and do theirs every month. But other than that, I haven't detailed a car, interior details, other than, I mean, all of our packages include an exterior detail, but just detailers, I haven't done. It's
Dude,
all been paint correction coatings. That's it.
so let's talk about August and September. So August, you lock in a really nice sales process. You're more comfortable on the phone. You have a good reference point for what's working really well with other clients of ours. And then September, you just did more of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I literally just focused on how do I get this person on the phone? One, so I can get better at being on the phone. I can get more reps in on the phone of like my sales process and okay, this one I booked trying different sales processes and pitches. I could say, let's say I have 5 sales processes that I wanted to try. I try number one on the next 10 clients. Okay, I booked one of them. And then I go to my second sales process. I booked 4 of them. I go to my third one. I booked one again. I'm like, okay, so number 2 is working. Let's refine number 2. So then that
Yes.
becomes my 4th sales pitch. And then I booked 8 of the 10. And so just it kept going and going until we're pretty close. I think our close rate right now is like 65 to 70%.
Which is
Um,
insane. These are Facebook leads.
which is kind of
Traditionally,
nuts.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Facebook leads, we're catching them earlier on in their buying journey, right? They might not know exactly what a coating is. They might not know all the benefits, the process, but you're taking somebody who vaguely knows what a ceramic coating is into what's the average ticket size there?
So our average size right now is 14.99. That's I don't think we've done anything lower than 14.99, and I wouldn't say basic. I mean, that's a full exterior detail, paint decontamination, a one-step polish, and then our 5-year paint coating. And then obviously we can add on
Easy.
wheels, add on glass, anything else, and it's 5 or 6 hours worth of work for 1,500 bucks. So I
Love
mean, we
it,
knock
man.
out
So
2 of those a day.
you're taking a stranger to a $1,500 job like that over the phone.
Yeah, yeah, over the phone. And most of the time, I mean, here in the past 2 weeks, most clients that we've landed, we do their vehicle, and so it'll be like husband and wife. They drop off the husband's truck, we knock the truck out, and they come
Yes.
back and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing. My wife needs us on her car. When can you get us in?" Well, I'm booked out like a month and a half, you know. And so we usually get two for one. So yeah, it's been crazy.
Love it, man. Let's give people listening just some golden nuggets on that sales process. And so this is something we go into a lot of detail every single Wednesday as part of that coaching program
Yep.
that we have.
I look
But
forward to it every Wednesday.
dude, love it,
All
man.
of my guys know now. They're like, "Oh, it's noon," and where you're at, you know. But yeah, noon, they're like, "Don't talk to Caleb. He's on the phone." So
Awesome, man. Yeah, so let's just do a high level recap of what that sales process looks like, right? So stranger calls you up. What do you say each step of that sales process?
yeah, so I mean, let's say you had like a 2017 Chevy Tahoe, black on black package. Obviously, with the information, as long as they put the information in the lead, you know what the vehicle's going to be. And I always get on the phone and I introduce who I am, where we're located. I feel like that's another big thing because a lot of people just say, "Hey, this is Caleb with K&M Coatings," but they don't know where that's at because maybe they haven't gone. They saw everything on Facebook, but they haven't done the full research end of it to know
Right.
where we're located. So I always let them know, "Hey, this is Caleb with K&M Coatings down here in Norman, Oklahoma." And then we just kind of go into the sales process where I typically start off by asking lots of questions about the vehicle. How long have you had it? What's your normal wash process? Do you go through an automatic car wash? Do you hand wash it? Have you noticed any scratches or swirls in the paint? Would you like to get rid of those? Any kind of aftermarket wheels, aftermarket parts. A lot of BMWs, Volkswagens, like European cars here, most people go with carbon, like everything is possible. So we do a lot of carbon hoods, a lot of carbon mirrors, carbon trunks. We have a really good, car scene here. So we do a lot of different things. And so I just try and really dial in exactly what they have. And it also lets them know that we're very thorough and when they ask me, because I've owned quite a bit of different vehicles, we've also done tons of vehicles.
Right.
So like when we have somebody with the Tesla call, I always educate them on the Tesla paint, the 7 day, like whenever you order a brand new Tesla, your first 7 days you can put in a claim to, "Hey, we've got, my hood is not properly aligned, you've got 7 days," and they'll do it for free. So I always educate Tesla clients on stuff like that. But I mean, depending on, what the vehicle is, we just really dive into what they have, exactly what they're wanting, and then it goes into the education of it. Like, why are you wanting a ceramic coating? Well, my neighbor's got one and his truck looks fantastic 24/7, And so they don't really know a whole lot about the coating. They just know that it looks good and their neighbor washes it in 20 minutes and he's done. And they want to know how to do that. So that's where we really go into the education side of it and see exactly what they're wanting.
Got it. Okay. And like I said, we're selling a high ticket service, right? So it's important to make sure that the person on the other end knows exactly what they're spending their money on. So again,
Right.
that's just one of those things we really focus in on the ads, the follow-ups, the call, right? So awesome, man. So just to recap real quick, June, $3,700, July, $4,400, September, $39,000. This month of October, it's October 3rd. Caleb, what is your monthly revenue for this month scheduled?
Right, right now we are just shy of $49,000. Just shy of 49,000. If my sales guy can squeeze in one more, I don't mind working a Saturday just because I want to see five at the beginning of that number. So if we can hit 50,000, yeah, I'll be ecstatic.
Without a doubt,
So
man. It's only October 3rd and you're like right up there. You're getting really close to $50,000 for the month of October, which is
yeah,
insane, man. So,
we've already almost got November's almost booked too.
yeah. What do you guys have on
November's
the
getting
books for
close.
November?
Right now we have 17,000, but which I know we'll get into this, going from just me doing mobile stuff to we just signed a lease on our new shop. And so we're kind of figuring all that stuff out. So we're gonna have to take about 2 weeks off
Yeah,
to build up the shop and do everything. But still, we've got almost 20 grand on there. And yeah, Robert's just killing it with all the sales and all of our leads, and he's flying through them. So
love it, man. So just to go into more detail on like what the future looks like for K&M Coatings. In the beginning, you mentioned that you were doing most of the follow-up with the leads. You got really good at the sales, and then you kind of passed the baton on to a sales rep, correct?
correct. Yep.
Okay, so why is it important to one, I guess, master the sales yourself first before handing it off? And then how did that process of handing off the sales to somebody else look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to train somebody on how to do something if you don't know how to do it yourself, right? Me being that I started this business and I do it every single day. I know the process like the back of my hand. If we have a 2023 F-150 that's metallic black versus a 2023 GMC Sierra that's gloss black, there's a different process to those. So knowing exactly what the client has and what you can do with the paint really goes a long way compared to a sales rep that's never held a polisher, doesn't even know what our bottles of polish look like. He understands the process because I've taught him, but he hasn't done it himself. So it's a little bit difficult if you were just to hire somebody on that has 15 years of sales experience selling whatever. If they don't understand our process and what we do, it's going to be difficult because this isn't, we're not just selling, we're not just selling mattresses. Everyone knows we all sleep in them. Everyone has a bed that we sleep in, and you're like, okay, do you want more stiff? Do you want it more soft? It's very easy. Whereas this is, there's a whole process behind it. So getting my sales guy, Robert, to get in the groove of exactly how I do things. And he's very good about, hey, this client has such and such vehicle. They just got, matte black racing stripes wrapped on it. Can we coat the vinyl? Absolutely. Just different things like that. He's very on top of it. And we kind of work in tandem in in the sales process. So if he gets somebody to, let's say, 90% close, they want to talk to their wife or they have questions that he kind of goes above his head, then he'll refer them to me. He'll just let me know, hey, I've got such and such client. They're almost there. Can you give them a call and just kind of nudge them over that edge? Absolutely. So I'm on the phone and like, all right, cool. I'll see you in a month and a half on Tuesday. So I kind of go in and close them now just because I've really dialed in my sales process to do that. But being able to do the sales as the person watching this, being in their shoes, really focus on the sales side. If you're detailing, if your paint correction, if your ceramic coating process is dialed in, focus on the sales side because you
Yeah.
can do the work all day. For 2 months, I did the sales side and all the work by myself. And now I've got 4 employees. I don't really do as much sales, but like I said, whenever Robert calls me and he's like, hey, such and such client is almost there, just give them a call. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll call you back in 5 minutes to, take their credit card number.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we're at right now.
Awesome, man. So that gives me a good idea of what your sales process looks like and why it's important to hand it off to somebody. But one thing I do want to like make clear is that you can still grow without a good sales process. You're just not going to grow as quickly. And the leads
Yeah,
that you're paying for, you might not get the return that you're looking for if you're not putting in that effort into actually refining those sales skills. And what I mean by that is when clients come to us, they usually have a good base of, past clients, referral clients, but they're really looking to for that growth, right? They're really looking to take things to the
exactly.
next level. And don't get me wrong, I think you can definitely grow really slowly, really steadily by just referral leads, leads that come in through your website. But the thing I want to make clear is that the sales process that we focus on is about closing leads who might not even know that you were in their town to begin with, right? So a complete
Right.
stranger
Yeah.
to somebody who is closing at 1,500, 2,000. We even have Aaron who's closing clients at $3,000, right? And I
Yeah, I
think
think
that's
our
where you're
highest
going to see that
package,
big uptick. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think our highest package that we sold was about 30, it was 37.50. Our starting price is 14.99. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we did a full paint correction on a Range Rover. There's a full paint correction. There's a 5-year paint coating, glass coating, and wheel coating. And then we also wrapped the roof and the hood. And we installed a few extra bits for them, like blacked out emblems, stuff like that. But the total package was 37.50. Yeah.
I remember this phone call. I remember this phone call, Caleb. You asked me to call you, and I think this was right when you had that breakthrough in your sales process, correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
let's
because
let's go
we
into
were
on that
barely
conversation.
like our best lead at that time, which was like 2 months ago. Our best one, I was like, oh, Salvador, I just closed somebody for 8.99, And it's funny to look back because I'm like, oh man, 8.99. Like there's not a whole lot I would do for 8.99 nowadays.
Let's
It's wild.
Do you remember the 5 for 5s?
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. So real quick, you had that breakthrough, and then I believe it was the next call or sometime that week where you closed that $3,700 coding job.
Yeah.
How did that conversation go?
I think it was honestly like a 35-minute phone call with the client. And that's not normal. I mean, most of my phone calls are normally like less than 3 minutes, but I think I was on the phone with him for so long just because he had a lot of questions and I had a lot of answers. But we went really in detail of exactly what he wanted with his Range Rover. It was a 2007 Range Rover Sport. The clear coat was failing on the roof and it had some clear coat failure on the hood. And so I told him, we can try and polish it. I can't guarantee anything. We can just see how it goes. He was like, okay, not a problem. And then the more I looked at the photos, I kept thinking that the roof clear coat, there's no way I'm going to be able to fix that. And so I called him back and I was like, hey, I think the roof is too gone. We can try on the hood, but would you be interested in wrapping it? And so he didn't even know that we offered vinyl. And so we started talking about wrapping it, and we wrapped a few other pieces on the Range Rover, like door handles, a few other bits, just to kind of tie it all in together. And after telling him about our other services that we offer, we ended up upcharging more because he wanted more done. So it all started as Robert was talking to him at $7.99 for a one-step polish and 5-year paint coating. And so I took it, I basically added $3,000 worth of services off of a $7.99 job. So
Insane, man.
just just educating and upselling.
Yeah, and even the way that I know we just had a coaching call that talked about upselling, downselling, and all that, but
Yeah.
just having like just knowing when to upsell and how to upsell can make the biggest difference, like you just mentioned. So you brought on Robert, he took care of most of the sales now, and then that kind of gave you more room to focus on delivering better client services or offering more services.
Yeah.
Let's go into more detail on like what the freedom that I guess handing off the sales process to someone has given you in your business.
Yeah. So when I was doing it by myself, it's tough when you're polishing a car and you're halfway through a door and the phone rings and you got to answer. And then you're on there for 5, 10, 35 minutes. And then you put the phone down and you're like, all right, where was I at? I don't know if everyone does this, but typically when I'm on the phone, I get up and I walk around and I kind of like pace.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then whenever I get back to what I was doing, I was like, crap, where was I at? Okay. But whenever the leads really started to pick up for us, I felt like I was on the phone more than I was doing the client's car. So I'd be on the phone for 2 hours out of the day when that could be 2 hours polishing or coding or doing whatever. So with having bringing Robert on and doing the sales, it's really alleviated a lot of that for me to where the contract that we're on now, I can really focus on just getting it knocked out and also teaching our new employees how to do things, but also being more present. So if they have a question or something comes up, I can get to it. And I'm not just stuck on the phone like, oh yeah, give me a second. 25 minutes later just go by and they forget what they were gonna ask. And we just the quality has been better for sure since I'm not having to worry about so much. Because it wasn't just phone calls. There's some people that only want to text.
Right.
So I'd be on the phone and then I'd get off the phone and a lead would text me and I text them back and then they text back 5 minutes later. So you're replying to that and then it's all day. It's a whole job by itself, honestly. it's a lot.
Okay, awesome, man. So bringing you on a sales rep kind of gave you that flexibility to focus on other aspects and really growing the business itself, which that itself is like a dream for a lot of business owners in general, right? Just,
Oh
it's
yeah.
not being in the business, but working on the business, right?
Yeah, I mean, oh, I just had something in my head, but what I was gonna say is I think the another big thing that you and I had talked about is confidence. Confidence is huge. After you spend the time of figuring out your sales process and doing all that, once you get that confidence, I mean, you're unstoppable, honestly. Whether a client comes to meet you in person, you're just like, hey, my name's Caleb. How can I take care of you today? Instead of, hey, it's Caleb. What can I help you with? You know, it's just a total mental shift. And for anybody that's watching this, I've been on that side of the screen watching it like, oh man, I can't wait to make $30,000 a month. And then you get into it and your first leads may not go well. And you're like, okay, do I keep trying or this isn't for me? If you just put your head down and do the work, grind it out and know that you'll make it. I mean, I'm about to hit $50,000 for the month. And there is no way in hell a couple months ago I'd have been like, yeah, I'll make $50,000 in a few months. There's just no way. I mean, $7,500 for the month was a good month for me. So it's been a wild ride, that's for sure.
It really has, man.
I
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't remember if you asked me a question in there. I totally forgot.
I don't remember either. All good, man. No, I think it's flowing really good. But just to wrap things up, man. Okay, so now you know that your business has gone to the next level, right? Probably surpassed any of your wildest dreams when it comes to business and like
Oh,
just focusing on
absolutely.
coatings themselves, right? What does
Yeah.
the future look like for K&M Coatings?
So far, we've landed a pretty substantial contract with a concrete company. So we're doing quite a bit of their trucks, and that's kind of really taken us over the edge, which I am extremely thankful for. We just signed a lease on a 3,000 square foot shop that we're going to be moving into hopefully this Friday, actually. I was there this morning and they've got a few more things to wrap up. And mind you, we were working in like a one car garage. You couldn't even shut the door. It was hardly anything. So going from that a month ago to a full blown shop is kind of unfathomable. And then mid November, I'm going to Houston for paint protection film training. And I've already
Nice.
bought a plotter. We've already got a bunch of things in the works. So we're going to start offering higher ticket services as well there by doing PPF and strictly focusing on coatings, kind of putting detailing to the back burner. But eventually we'll probably bring it back, but it won't be anytime soon. We're just strictly focusing on coatings, paint protection film, and yeah, that's where we're at so far. That may change in 2 weeks. You never know with the way we're growing. It's crazy. So
Yeah, and for anybody listening, that might sound insane. It might sound like Caleb is taking on a bunch of risk, but it really is not risky at all once you have a good process down. Once you know, hey, every single 6 or 7 out of 10 leads, I know I can turn into a customer. That's where you get the confidence to really go in on buying that plotter, moving into a shop without really worrying about going all the way back down and like having all these crazy spikes,
yeah,
which I can say for the most part is due to locking in that sales process, getting that confidence, getting those reps in, put in the time and effort that Caleb, I know you definitely have over the last couple months, man. Like you're on every single coaching call. You ask a lot of questions, you're curious, and you've really come out of your shell as not only as a business owner, but on the sales side. And dude, I think we're just seeing it, we're witnessing it right, in front of our eyes.
I think it, I think it'd be interesting to see like if we can go back and find
Yes,
our
they're,
first call together
they're all recorded.
comparatively, it would be insane. It's
Yeah.
totally different. I mean, it'd be wild to see it. But I think for as like my closing statement, I guess, for anybody that's watching, before we ever signed up with Salvador, there was a lot of questions in my mind as a small business owner of, is it worth it? Is it going to work? Um, there's so many different questions out there. And then after talking to Salvador and just taking that leap to wanting to grow my business, to not having to have a part-time job and try and do my business or just do my business on the side for, some of like the weekend warrior type people, taking that plunge and knowing that it's a grind, But if you're willing to work for something that you want, 100% it is worth it. Because I've watched this video with other people and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be on that video. You know, I'm not going to be on the screen, but it's crazy. I mean, you don't know what you're capable of until you put 110% in all aspects of it. And I mean, for me, like social media, you know, going out on the weekends, doing all these different things, I don't even do any of that more anymore. 24/7, it is K&M Coatings. That is it. I mean, I eat, sleep, and breathe leads and just shop stuff, just work. I can worry about all that later whenever my employees take care of the shop. I'm a business owner instead of running and having to do everything in the
Yeah,
business, you know, transitioning to a business owner. That's when I can go have fun and do those things. But
yeah.
right now, I enjoy the grind and I'm excited for next week, next month, next year.
Love it,
It's
man.
crazy.
Love it.
So,
Before I let you go, one last question. What would you say to somebody watching this who might be on the fence coming on board as a client?
man, I mean, I was in the same boat. I was like, you never know. I mean, it could, because we've had a bad taste in our mouth from two previous people before you, and we tried it. We didn't get anything out of it. It was a waste of money, or they didn't ever reach out to us and do the things that they said they were going to do. Salvador's not that way. Him and the team, I mean, I don't think there's a time that I've messaged you and it's taken longer than like 15 minutes. Like you're on
Yeah,
top of it. Either you or Angelica or any of the team, I mean, they're just on it. When it comes to leads, they know it like the back of their hand. Like this is what they do. Like leave the detailing to us. The advertising is 100% them and it works. I mean, I'm proof that it works. Ray, Aaron, Khalil, we're all proof that it works.
yeah.
Like I said, my best month, I was geeking out. If it was 5 grand, 6 grand, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm doing so great. And now, you know, I'm trying to hit that 50. I'm like $900 away for $50,000 this month. It's crazy.
You
But
will. You
what
will.
I would say, what I would say to somebody is believe in yourself and believe in Salvador. And I mean, you can do it. I wasn't the most confident person. You can even ask Salvador. I didn't have a bit of confidence to me. So it's crazy. It's a wild ride, but it's a good one for sure. For
Love
sure.
it, man. Caleb, thank you so much for your time and continued success, man. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you as well. I gotta climb up on this concrete truck and get coating. So
Alrighty, man. Thank you so much for your time.